Hi, I'm Jonathan M0JSX, and I have just picked up that 2008 Ford Fiesta. And don't worry, this isn't a car video at all. Other than the fact that we're going to talk about how I've installed radios in this car. Yes, more than one. And how I like to do things. Now, I'm going to say from the very off, this isn't necessarily what you should do. This isn't necessarily the most professional install. But this is how I've got my FT8900 plus an APRS system into my new-to-me car. I mean, we'll start by mentioning the elephant in the room and the fact that it does need a wash already. I know, it's grim. But let's move firstly to the rear of the car, because this is obviously where the business end is, and I've got twin VHF, UHF whips on here. The reason for that is that I wanted to have two mounting positions on the car. Now, I have used two Nagoya mounts, and please forgive me, I can't remember what they are. I think it might be an RB400 and something else. They're two I happen to have in my box from years ago. One of the cable assemblies was old, and I had to actually repair it, which is this one. You can see I've made a repair with some heat shrink. The other one, this is a brand new cable assembly that I picked up from Martin H & Sons this last week, which is good. It's just their normal one with RG58. You can get the ones that have like the thin bit of coax to get it inside the car, and then it goes to thicker stuff. They work fine. I just like the ones with RG58 all the way. Let's talk about what the two antennas are for then. So the right hand antenna, which happens to be a Maldol thing. I could probably tell you obviously Maldol no longer in operation, but it's an SHG 1000C with a little open coil in the middle of it, which works very nicely. Just 270 on that one. That feeds the FT8900 in the vehicle. And then the other one, which is also a Maldon antenna, I do quite like Maldon antennas. This one is an Apex AX75, which feeds the currently it feeds just an APRS beacon. Now, I know what you're thinking. Don't you get horrible descents? Yes. Does it really matter? No, simply because the APRS, when I'm going at speed, if I'm going over 30 miles an hour, it transmits every 30 seconds. But let's be honest, every beacon is only a fraction of a second long. So even when I'm in QSO on 2 meters on the other radio, I'm not really losing anything. So opening up the boot on the vehicle, we can see that the antennas will then go horizontal, but you can see that I've routed the RG58 up here, and I'm a firm believer in the power of blue tack, and have blue tacked it up this side of the boot here, and then comes round. And then I was really thinking about how I actually get the coax into the vehicle. Previous cars, I've run the coax all the way down the outside of the boot, all the way down, and then kind of brought it in at the bottom here. You can see that I did have to do that. Hence the rubber is kind of out of place just there. I thought on this one, actually, getting it behind here was relatively easy. So that's exactly what I've done. So I've pulled this bit here. So I've done a loop here just so that any water that's running down this runs away here. Water's not going to travel uphill to get it inside the boot just here. And I've tucked the RG58 behind this bit of trim here and brought it all the way down. And then you could just see a bit of the RG58 back in here before it disappears behind a bit of trim just there. It's exactly the same on the other side as well. So again, RG58 coming up here, down the side. It's a little bit looser on this side. That just needs to be tightened up. And then, yeah, similar arrangement with it coming in, little drip bit, and then into the vehicle, again, down the side, and you can just see a slight trace of it there. And then this one disappears up behind this trim. It comes down here and flows to where the FT8900 is. I also have a spare Maldol whip in the car as well here. Let's talk about this monstrosity and what this is all in aid of, because I know what you're thinking. What on earth is that for? Well, this is my current APRS setup. So I could just stick that there. So we have here a Bionics TinyTrack 3 Plus connected to, this is a GPS module which I've actually just tucked up here, attached to a big battery which is just powering, slightly off, so I've got a big LiFePO 4, well, I think it's a 7 amp hour LiFePO 4 battery which is just powering the TinyTrack. Separately, I've got a TID radio, or TID radio, TDH3 standard, not plus, which is just using its own battery. It's set to power save, the screen goes off pretty quickly, and I'm probably getting a couple of days or so out of one battery charge. And because TID radio have sent me so many of those radios, I've got a few batteries going spare, so I always keep a charged one in the glove box just to swap out, and then I've got one on charge as well. So that's the APRS setup, just running 5 watts. Eventually I would like to redo the APRS in the car, mostly because this is a mess, and I know, and also I'd quite like to get a radio which has proper APRS on it. I have one in mind. I need to do a bit more research before I sort of start thinking about it in any seriousness, but I want to just make sure that's it. But for now, this does the trick. The other thing is, at the moment, obviously I've got a dual band antenna only using it on a single band. There is the option that I could put a duplexer in here and run something else on 77s. Perhaps, for instance, a DMR radio. I've done that in the past. I don't intend on doing that here, but that's an option. Let's now talk about where the FT8900 is, because, well, you can't see it. That's because it's hidden away underneath the bottom carpet, and it is just hanging out down there with the spare wheel. Yes, it's probably not enough room around it, but there is room behind the fan, and then everything connects down here. And I've also got a programming cable for it as well, an artisanal programming cable, which I'm actually just going to tuck down with it. And then we've got connected to it, obviously we've got coax, which is coming here. No, that's not coax, that's coax. This is the coax which is coming up, just pops in down the side there, again from the mount on the right hand side of the car. And then out we've also got a speaker extension cable and a head extension cable, which are doing the trick. And then just nicely going across the spare wheel, and that should probably be in place, we've got a power cable. Now this runs down the complete side of the car straight up to the battery, so that's a direct feed off the battery. I'm not powering it through any other means other than directly onto the battery. That has its advantages. Of course, that means that the radio is not interfering at all with any of the internal car electronics. The negative, of course, is that it's not switching off with the ignition, which means that it's totally possible that I could end up leaving the radio on. So under the bonnet at the front, there is obviously an engine, but this is the battery that's on this one. And all I've done here, you can see that I've got a fuse here, just on the positive, which is obviously attached onto the positive terminal of the battery, and then same with the negative. Now, a negative you could take off the chassis if you wanted to. Again, I just believe they take it directly off the battery. And then I've got a sort of wound wire which goes down the side of this wing here, and it's routed through, so it then pops out. If I open up this door, you can then see the other end pops out here. The reason I've done it this way, it means that I'm not having to try go through the firewall of the car, which, well, technically is possible, and while that's what a professional would do, I find it a heck of a lot easier just to go around, and there's plenty of room just down the side of the wing, which you probably won't be able to see, to get it through. Routing that was quite the challenge, but it was nothing that a bit of stiff copper wire and a lot of hope and praying didn't do. And then it just drops down here and then goes into this skirting here, and then it goes all the way under this bit of rubber there, so it's a slight bulge, but it's ultimately fine. I'm not quite sure why I didn't do it up here, if I'm very honest, but it's a bit late to change it now. And then it runs under this from here, In fact, it runs down and then it's under here basically. So it's running then all the way on down the back. Then can't see it, but it's running all the way through this bit here and then through to the back. On the other side of the vehicle, in exactly the same way, is where the along that side of the vehicle is the speaker cable and also the cabling for the head unit, which we'll have a look at next. In the vehicle, we have the head of the radio just here, which I've mounted with some really strong double-sided tape. So yeah, there's a bit of flex in it, but ultimately if I wanted to remove it, I can quite easily, and it holds this quite nicely. Obviously, head of the 1800 is not particularly heavy. Cabling for this runs kind of down the side here. It runs down the sort of, you can't really see, it's all dark, but it runs down the side, round this bit around here, down this side, and then it pokes out. You can just see it there poking out, runs underneath the driver's seat, and then down on the other side of the car. The reason I chose the 18900 was, one, I happen to have one already. I did initially put the Retivis MA1 in the car, didn't quite like it. It just had a few quirks, not the most sensitive receiver in the world. Run with that for about a week and then changed over to the ACU FT8900. The nice thing was is that I could reuse all the cabling that I'd already put in place because it's the same. The other reason for choosing the 18900, obviously the microphone plugs into the head, so it saves having to run a separate microphone extension cable because it's all just in that one head connection cable. However, and let's now talk about what I might want to do in the future. Well, more broadly, what I'm going to do to the car is I'm going to replace the car radio with something with CarPlay. But let's talk a bit more about what else I want to do with the car. So while I really like the FT8900 for what it does, I think it's a fantastic radio, and I don't think I'm going to necessarily replace it in the car, but I'm also thinking about, is there another radio on the market which might be slightly better? I've got a fly in here with me. And I've had a look at all of the options, and I think the radio that I'm likely to put in here is possibly the FTM 310. The reason I like that is, or the face of it is because A, it does have APRS on it, and it's also got other features which I like from the 18900. I like the fact that the 18900 has things like crossband repeat, which is something I don't use very often, but if I'm out doing something like a RayNet event or other community event where, I might be on a checkpoint where I want to have the car, with its higher gain antenna parked up, and then I operate using a handheld locally, that's something that gives the flexibility of. The 18900 has it, of course, but there are other radios on the market which don't, so I found that pretty attractive with the FTM 310. I also like the FTM 310 by the looks of it. I'm not actually played with one in the flesh. Yay, Sue, if you're listening. But I like the fact that, again, remote head, be able to remote head it. And the question is then, of course, do I just replace the 18900 with an FTM 310, for example, or do I run two radios in the car? And I've done that in the past. I've certainly in the past done FTM. I did FT8900 and the FT857, both in the car. I've done that. That's the other thing that I might want to investigate in the future, would be, do I investigate HF mobile again? Now, I sold my 857 and ATAS a couple of years ago, so maybe I go back down that route. That could be an option. Maybe I go down the route of independent whips for particular HF bands. I know that's a good option too. Lots of things to think about there. And if I go down that route, do I look for a second-hand 857? Or do I think it's probably time to have something a bit more modern and go for maybe FT891 or Icon IC7100? all options, all possibilities. Let me know what you think. What would you do? You know, a blank canvas, not necessarily endless money, but what would your options be? If you're in my position, you've just got yourself a car, and let's be honest, this is an older car, it didn't cost me very much money, and I kind of bought it thinking, you know what, if I, you know, make a few, it's already got a few dings in it, but putting antennas on it, well, actually, I don't need to care about it as much as I would do if it was a brand new car. And that's been my thing in the past, where I've bought a brand new car or had a brand new car on finance, and then had to be really conscious about how I do things in order to make sure they're undoable. This car being, you know, nearly 20 years old, probably I'm going to be the last owner of it. So, you know, if we make some holes in it, probably not going to make too much difference. Let me know what you think. Be really interested. Comments down below. And what radio do you run in the car? Let's hope I'm in that conversation. What radio do you run in the car? I say at the moment I'm running FT8900. One thing I'd like to do in the very interim future is to get a possibly quad band whip, or maybe at least tri-bands, have 6 meters as well, because there are a couple of 6 meter repeaters not too far away that might be a bit fun to play around with as I'm driving. But yeah, I'd like to know. Thanks very much for watching. If you've liked this video, there's a button specifically for that. If you haven't, there's another one that seems to work just fine too. And if you haven't already done so, please do click on that subscribe button, and also click that notification bell, and you'll be told whenever I upload a new video. There's another video coming up over here that the algorithm thinks that you will like next. Until next time, 73. Bye-bye.